Everything seemed normal, until Tai saw it. A quiet evening at the ranch, the sun dipping below the horizon, and Amy's laughter echoing softly from the barn. But when Tai turned the corner, what he saw stopped him cold. Amy wasn't alone, and the man beside her wasn't just anyone. It was Nathan, a name that had meant nothing to Tai before. But after that moment, it meant everything. Was Amy hiding something, or had Tai been away for too long? Heartland Season 19 doesn't just bring back old emotions, it unlocks new secrets. And this time, it's personal. Tai Borden's unexpected return to Heartland was meant to be quiet, even healing. After years away, walking back onto the ranch felt like stepping into a memory. The familiar creak of the barn doors, the scent of horses and hay, and the distant sound of Lindy laughing brought back a flood of emotions. For Tai, it wasn't just about seeing Amy again. It was about reconnecting with the life he once fought so hard to protect. He knew things would be different. Time changes people. But what he didn't expect was how quickly that difference would slap him in the face. Amy was kind when she saw him. Too kind. Her eyes sparkled with emotion, but there was hesitation behind her smile. She hugged him like someone greeting an old friend, not the love of her life. That unsettled Tai more than anything. Still, he tried to convince himself it was the shock, the surprise of his return. After all, he hadn't warned anyone. He wanted to see the truth for himself, how much had changed in his absence. But what he found was more than he was prepared for. Nathan first appeared at a community gathering. Tall, confident, and well-spoken, he was already on good terms with the Bartlett Fleming family. Jack clapped him on the back like an old friend. Lou introduced him to neighbors with pride, and even Tim seemed impressed with the man's knowledge of horses and ranch life. Tai watched from a distance, confused but calm, until Amy walked over to Nathan with a comfort that Tai couldn't ignore. It was in the little things. The way she touched his arm during conversation, the way they shared inside jokes, the way she leaned toward him, listening carefully, smiling easily. Tai felt the sting of realization forming like a storm cloud in his chest. He hadn't expected to be welcomed with open arms, but he never expected to feel like an outsider in Amy's world. Later that evening, Tai sat alone by the fire pit outside the house. The stars above shimmered with quiet beauty, but his mind was far from peaceful. That's when Katie sat beside him. She was older now, wiser, more observant, and what she said changed everything. "She really missed you," Katie whispered, "but Nathan helped her when she was lost. He's been around a long time. We thought you were never coming back." Those words hit Tai like a slow-burning fire. He didn't blame Amy. He blamed time, circumstance, distance. But deep inside, a question grew. Had Amy moved on? And if she had, where did that leave him? He needed answers. Not from Katie, not from Jack, not from the gossip that swirled like wind through Hudson. He needed the truth from Amy herself. But when he approached the barn that night, ready to ask her, he stopped. The laughter again, software sincere. And then he saw them. Amy and Nathan standing close under the dim barn light. She was holding his hand. Tai didn't say a word. He turned and walked away, the weight of the moment crushing. Heartland was still home, but something had changed. And whatever came next, it would either mend his heart or break it all over again. The next morning, the ranch moved with its usual rhythm. Horses being fed, chores being handled, and conversations buzzing faintly across the fields. But for Tai, every movement felt heavier, every smile forced. He had returned home, but nothing felt like home anymore. The sight of Amy with Nathan haunted him like a shadow. And the worst part? No one else seemed to notice the weight he carried. Or maybe they did, and simply chose not to speak of it. Amy acted like nothing had changed. She greeted Tai with warmth, asked how he had been, even invited him to help with a new horse they were trying to tame. It was almost too normal, too easy. And that made Tai suspicious. He knew Amy too well. She wasn't the kind of woman who hid her feelings unless she had something to protect. And now, Tai had a strong feeling that the person she was protecting was Nathan. As they worked side by side in the stable, Tai studied her carefully. The way she avoided eye contact for just a second too long. The way her voice trembled slightly when she mentioned Nathan's name. The way she changed the subject every time things got personal. Amy was trying to hide something, and Tai wasn't sure if he was ready to hear what it was. The tension grew when Nathan arrived at the ranch later that day. He greeted everyone with confidence, laughing with Jack, exchanging updates with Lou, and offering to help Tim with repairs in the back barn. He was clearly part of the family now, but when he saw Tai, his face tightened. The handshake between them was firm, but cold. Two men with too much unspoken between them. "Glad to finally meet you," Nathan said, his voice polite but clipped. Tai nodded. "Yeah, same." It wasn't the words, it was the silence between them that said everything. That evening, Tai went for a walk around the ranch, hoping the open skies and quiet hills would help clear his mind. But instead of peace, he found Katie again, this time sitting by herself, sketching in a notebook. She looked up and said, "They never told me you were coming back." "I didn't tell anyone," Tai replied. Katie paused, then spoke softly. "You're still part of this place, but things have changed. Amy's different." Tai sat beside her, unsure of how much he wanted to hear. But the truth had a way of finding him, whether he wanted it or not. "She's been through a lot, Tai," Katie continued. "You were gone. She didn't know if you'd ever come back. And Nathan, he was there when everything was falling apart. He helped her through the worst. He never tried to replace you, but I think she started needing him." Those words stayed with Tai long after Katie left. He lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, torn between anger, guilt, and confusion. Had he given up too soon? Had he stayed away too long? He thought he was doing the right thing, giving Amy space to heal, staying out of the picture when he couldn't offer her stability. But maybe his silence had created space for someone else to step in? The next day, Tai decided he couldn't go on like this, watching from the sidelines while his past, his family, and his future slipped away. He found Amy alone in the paddock, brushing Spartan with a soft hand, her face calm but unreadable. "I need to know the truth," he said quietly. Amy didn't look at him right away. Her hand stilled on the horse's neck. Then she turned, and Tai saw the conflict in her eyes. "About Nathan?" she asked. Tai nodded. Amy took a long breath. He was never meant to be anything more than a friend, but after a while, he was just always there. He helped Lindy with school, helped me with the ranch. He listened, he never pushed, and I didn't plan on feeling anything, but feelings came anyway." Tai swallowed hard. The words cut deep, but they were honest. "So, what are you saying?" he asked. "I don't know," Amy whispered. "I thought I had moved on. I thought you were gone forever. But now you're here, and everything I've been trying to rebuild is breaking all over again." Tai stepped back, the weight of her words crashing over him. The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, Tai realized that his return had not brought clarity. It had only added another layer of confusion. Amy wasn't the only one facing a choice. Tai now had to decide whether to fight for what they once had or let her go. And just when he thought things couldn't get more complicated, he discovered something that changed everything. Something Amy hadn't told anyone, not even Nathan. The days that followed were a storm of emotions for Tai. Every word Amy had spoken echoed in his mind. He found himself caught in a whirlwind of memories, late-night talks under the stars, laughter by the fireplace, the way Amy's hand once fit perfectly into his. But those memories now clashed with an undeniable reality. Things had changed. And yet, despite everything, Tai couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was going on, something Amy wasn't saying. He started noticing things, subtle, almost invisible signs. Amy's hesitation when asked about the future, her distracted expression when Nathan mentioned anything long-term, her sudden quietness whenever Lindy was around. Tai's instincts kicked in. As someone who'd spent years observing animal behavior, he knew when something, or someone, wasn't being fully honest. One evening, while Amy was out running errands and Nathan had taken Lindy to a school event, Tai found himself alone at the ranch house. He wasn't looking for trouble. He just wanted clarity. But when he walked into the study, a half-open drawer caught his eye. Inside was a small envelope, marked with nothing but a date, 2 weeks ago. The same week he returned. Curiosity turned to urgency. He opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten. The words hit like a punch to the chest. Amy, I know you're trying to protect everyone, especially Lindy, but you need to tell Tai the truth. He has a right to know. Secrets like this don't stay buried forever. And if you wait too long, it won't just be your heart at risk. It'll be hers too. Jack. Tai's heart pounded. What truth? What secret could be so heavy that even Jack, someone who always respected boundaries, was urging Amy to come clean? The next day, Tai confronted Jack. The old man didn't even pretend to be surprised. I figured you'd find that letter sooner or later, Jack said, leaning back in his chair. Amy was going to tell you. She just didn't know how. Tell me what? Tai asked, his voice sharp with emotion. Jack looked him dead in the eye. Lindy's been having dreams, vivid ones. Dreams about you, about conversations that never happened, about things no one ever told her. And they're not just dreams, Tai. She's been drawing you, talking to you in her sleep, describing things that even Amy can't explain. Tai's breath caught. What are you saying? I'm saying that Lindy's felt your presence for months, before anyone knew you were coming back. It's like she sensed it. And Amy, she thought it was just grief. But now, she's not so sure. Tai was silent. Every logical part of him screamed that it didn't make sense. But something deeper, something primal, believed it. He'd always had a connection with Lindy, even when he was away. He used to wake up feeling like someone was calling his name. Now he knew. Maybe someone was. Later that evening, Tai watched Lindy play in the yard, chasing butterflies and laughing as Nathan tried to keep up. And yet, every so often her eyes would drift toward Tai, not just as if she recognized him, but as if she'd been waiting for him. After dinner, Amy pulled Tai aside. She looked tired, worn, like someone carrying more weight than she could bear. You found the letter, didn't you? She asked. Tai nodded. Why didn't you tell me? Amy looked away. Because I didn't want you to come back out of guilt or obligation. I wanted it to be your choice. It was my choice, Tai said. But now I need to know everything. All of it. Amy took a shaky breath. Lindy believes you've been visiting her, in her dreams. She says you talk to her, comfort her when she's scared. Tell her not to worry. I didn't know what to make of it at first. I thought it was her mind creating ways to cope. But the things she knows, things she says you've told her. She described the tattoo on my arm, Tai said quietly. The one I got after I left. No one here even knows about it. Amy's eyes widened. She mentioned it 2 weeks ago, said you called it your promise mark. I thought she made it up. Tai's chest tightened. She didn't. They stood in silence for a long moment, the weight of everything unsaid crashing between them. This wasn't just about lost love anymore. It wasn't about Nathan or missed chances. It was about a child caught between two worlds, and the invisible thread that connected her to a father who had been gone too long. I don't know what to believe anymore, Amy whispered. Then believe what you feel, Tai replied. Because whatever this is, it's real, and it's not done yet. The air around them felt electric, charged with all the things that had yet to be said, and just as they turned to go back inside, Lindy's voice rang out from the porch. Daddy, are you staying this time? Amy froze. Tai turned slowly. Lindy was standing there, barefoot and sleepy-eyed, as if she had just woken up from another dream. Tai walked toward her, knelt down, and looked into her eyes. I want to, he said softly. Do you want me to? Lindy nodded and wrapped her arms around him. Amy stood in the doorway, tears in her eyes. As Nathan walked up behind her, watching it all unfold, Tai sat alone by the fireplace that night, long after everyone else had gone to bed. The flames flickered, casting shadows that danced across the wooden beams of the Heartland living room. Everything looked the same. Familiar furniture, photographs on the mantel, the old rocking chair Jack used when reading Lindy bedtime stories. But everything felt different. Something had shifted, not just in the air, but deep within his soul. For the first time since his return, Tai felt the weight of belonging again. but also the burden of choices that had to be made. Amy's face kept flashing through his mind. The tears she tried to hide, the conflict in her voice, the raw honesty when she told him about Lindy's dreams. And then there was Lindy herself. That innocent question, "Daddy, are you staying this time?" hit harder than anything else. Tai had been through pain, death, war, and loss, but nothing prepared him for the moment his daughter, who'd grown up without him, asked him to stay like he was never supposed to leave. But it wasn't that simple. Life had kept moving while he was gone. Amy had tried to heal, and Nathan had stepped into a role that Tai had never imagined anyone else filling. Nathan wasn't just a boyfriend or a companion. He was Lindy's second father in many ways, the one who had been there when Tai couldn't. And that truth, as much as it stung, couldn't be ignored. The next morning, Tai walked out to the barn before sunrise. The horses stirred as he entered, and Spartan neighed softly as if sensing Tai's unrest. Tai leaned against the stall, running a hand over Spartan's mane. This barn had been his sanctuary for years. It was here he found purpose, where he helped animals heal, and in return, where he found his own healing. But now, it felt like a mirror, reflecting back everything he didn't want to face. Nathan joined him a few minutes later, silence stretching between them like a tightrope. Finally, Nathan spoke. "She still loves you," he said quietly. Tai turned slowly. "That's not the point, isn't it?" Nathan asked, his tone calm but firm. "You came back and everything changed. I'm not pretending I don't feel it. Lindy feels it. Jack feels it. Amy, she doesn't know what to feel anymore." Tai met his eyes. "I didn't plan this. I didn't come back to take anything away from you." "I know that," Nathan replied, "but that doesn't make it any easier." They stood in silence again, two men caught between love and reality. There was no rivalry here, no bitterness, just two hearts trying to protect the same woman, the same child. Later that day, Lou arrived from the city. She'd heard rumors and came to see for herself. As always, she brought her no-nonsense energy and fierce loyalty to her sister. The moment she saw Tai, her eyes softened. "You really are back," she said. "I am," Tai replied. Lou didn't waste time. "And what exactly are your intentions?" Tai sighed. "To figure things out, to be here for Lindy, for Amy, if she wants me." Lou studied him for a long moment. "Just don't break her again. She finally started breathing after you left. Don't make her hold her breath." That night, Amy finally sat down with Tai. Just the two of them, by the edge of the field, where they used to talk for hours under the stars. The moonlight bathed everything in silver, and for a while, neither of them spoke. "I thought I'd never see you again," Amy said softly. "I told myself it was better that way, cleaner." "I never stopped thinking about you," Tai replied, "but I didn't know how to come back. Or if I should." Amy looked at him, her eyes full of everything she'd tried to bury. "Why now?" "Because something in me said I had to. Like Lindy's dreams, I started feeling things. Like she was calling me." Amy nodded slowly. "Do you believe that? That she connected to you somehow?" "I do," Tai said, "because I felt it too. Not just her. You." Amy turned away, looking out at the horizon. "I tried so hard to move on. Nathan was kind, patient. He never rushed me. But I think deep down, part of me was always waiting. For what? For a miracle," she whispered. Tai reached out, gently taking her hand. "Maybe we're both here now, because we're supposed to be." They sat like that for a long time, past midnight, until the cold made them head back indoors. But the air between them had changed. A spark had ignited, not just of love, but of possibility. And possibility was dangerous. It demanded decisions. In the following days, Tai began spending more time with Lindy. At first, it was small things, reading her stories, helping with homework, writing together. But as the bond deepened, so did the questions. "Where were you all this time?" she asked one night. Tai paused. "Far away, trying to heal. But I never stopped loving you." Lindy nodded. "I know. You came in my dreams. You made me feel safe. Amy listened from the hallway, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. One afternoon, Lindy asked Tai if they could go riding alone. Amy hesitated, but agreed. Out in the fields, Lindy was quiet, thoughtful. When they stopped near the stream, she turned to him. "Are you going to leave again?" Tai knelt beside her. "Only if you and Mommy tell me to. Otherwise, I'm staying." Lindy hugged him tightly. "Then stay forever." Meanwhile, Nathan had his own conversation with Amy. They stood near the stables, the wind tugging at their jackets. "I think it's time we talked," he said. Amy looked tired. "I know." Nathan's voice was steady. "I love you, and I love Lindy, but I can't be the man standing between you and something you never stopped loving." Amy's lips trembled. "Nathan, it's not that simple." "Yes, it is," he said gently. "You don't have to explain. I've always known there was a part of your heart that wasn't mine. I thought, maybe with time, it could be. But now, I see it in your eyes every time you look at him." Amy broke down. "I never wanted to hurt you." "I know," Nathan said. "That's why it hurts even more." They didn't say goodbye. They didn't need to. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones you don't make, but feel. In the weeks that followed, the news spread quietly. Nathan returned to his own ranch. Amy remained at Heartland, trying to navigate the new balance of her life. Tai stayed, rebuilding not just a relationship with Amy and Lindy, but with the entire ranch family. Jack began to smile more. Lou softened. Katie even told Tai she was glad he was back, but warned him not to ghost them again. The season progressed with challenges. A wild horse injured in a fire, a legal battle over ranch land. But through it all, the core of the story remained: the healing of a broken family. In episode 7, Lindy had a school presentation where she was asked to talk about her hero. She stood in front of her classmates and said, "My hero is my dad. He came back when I needed him most, even if he was scared." Tai watched from the back of the room, tears in his eyes. In episode 9, Amy and Tai finally shared their first kiss since his return. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't fiery, it was soft, full of history, longing, and understanding. A kiss that said, "We made it." But perhaps the most powerful moment came in the season finale. Amy, Tai, and Lindy stood together at the top of a hill overlooking the ranch. "This is home," Amy said. Tai nodded. "It always was." Lindy reached for both their hands. "And it always will be." The camera slowly panned out, capturing the vastness of Heartland, the mountains in the distance, the golden light of evening casting everything in warmth. And in the final voiceover, Amy said, "Sometimes life takes us far from the ones we love, but love, real love, finds its way back, even if it takes a miracle." As the screen faded to black, fans were left with a sense of peace. Not because everything was perfect, but because everything was honest. Tai's return wasn't just about romance, it was about healing, confronting truths, and choosing love over fear. The final scene wasn't just an ending, it was a beginning, and for fans who had held their breath for so long, it was finally safe to exhale.